Hi, my name is Anna Rutenbeck, and I am here today to talk to you about photography in the 19th century. I am currently an intern at the Brickstore Museum. I have a bachelor's degree from American University in film and media art with a photography concentration, and I am currently pursuing a master's degree in museum studies from the Cooperstown graduate program. Photography was invented in 1826 by a French inventor named Niepce. Kind of. This image, called View from a Window at Le Gras, is usually considered the oldest surviving photograph. This photograph took multiple days of exposure to create. However, the invention of photography is contested because it wasn't until later that the first fixed image was created. Fixed means that the image is light safe, so it won't degrade when it's exposed to light. Before we move on, it's important to understand the basics of how most photography works. At its most basic, a photographer will use a small opening to focus an image onto a light-sensitive surface. The length of exposure necessary to create an image depends on the size of the opening, the intensity of the light, and the sensitivity of the surface. Because Niepce was working with chemicals that weren't very sensitive to light, it took a very long time for his image to expose. While not many people have heard of Niepce, there is a name that's more familiar to a lot of people: Daguerre. Louis Daguerre was someone who worked with Niepce, and after Niepce's death in 1830, he invented a new photographic process called the Daguerreotype, which he unveiled in 1839. This process allowed for relatively shorter exposure times, and that meant that anyone with the proper equipment could create their own photographs. So instead of taking days for a photograph to expose, it would take seconds or minutes. Here are some examples of daguerreotypes from the 19th century. There were countless other photographic processes invented in the 19th century, including tintypes. Local artist Cole Caswell actually creates tintypes all around the state of Maine, and he put together a virtual tintype demonstration, which you can view on the Brickstore Museum's YouTube page. In photography's early days, people were confused. Is it art? Is it science? Science was absolutely an important part of early photography. Early photographers relied on chemistry and physics to learn and develop a wide variety of new processes. And then there was the question of what photographs should look like. Some early photographers attempted to mimic established art forms like painting. See this photograph from 19th century photographer Julia Margaret Cameron. Doesn't it look like a painting? Julia Margaret Cameron photographed children pretty frequently and liked depicting them as angels. She also used photography as a tool for documentary. This photograph of Alfred Lord Tennyson from 1869 is also by Cameron. Since this is the Steampunk Fair, we have to talk about cameras. Steampunk aesthetic inspiration can be found in both 19th century photographic images and in the cameras themselves. Here's an image from the 19th century of someone using a camera obscura to trace a drawing. A camera obscura is an early photographic device that uses a pinhole to display an image on a surface. You can actually turn pretty much anything into a camera obscura, like a soup can or even a closet. The earliest record of a camera obscura being used is actually from the early Common Era in China. This is the Giraud daguerreotype camera, which was the first daguerreotype camera ever to be commercially produced. And finally, here's an example of a 19th century photography studio, which was actually recreated in miniature by Turkish artist Ali Alamadi. I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit about 19th century photography and cameras. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the Brickstore Museum and I will be happy to try to answer them. I hope that the rest of the programming for the virtual Steampunk Fair is enjoyable to you. Have a nice day.